contusion. He will not play against the Texans on Christmas. Tomlin also announced that rookie running back James Conner had surgery on his MCL and will be placed on season-ending IR. Hello, welcome in, my friends. This is NFL Live. Louis Riddick, Tim Hasselbeck, and the great Bill Polian is going to join us in just a few minutes. I'm Diana Rossini with you. So we had Falcons and Bucs last night. Atlanta now in complete full control over their destiny. And guys, 20 is the magic number for Dan Quinn's club. The Falcons are now 9-0 when they score at least 20 points. And they did it with ease last night. Let's begin. 3rd and goal from the 6. Ryan to Justin Hardy.
That's easy. It's also easy when there's 10 guys on the field, which is what Tampa had there. But good job with Justin Hardy on the back shoulder fake.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. The receivers, not the story of the game. Here we go. Devontae Freeman, lights out in this one. 1st and 10, a little short pass here. Avoiding the tackles. Little pickup of 29 yards here. And Ryan, he knew he could also rely on Freeman on the ground. Here we go. 3rd and 2. Taking the toss and speed.
Correct toss, man. Get it outside. Great angles for the offensive linemen. Great angles for the wide receivers. Just pick a running lane and then get out in the open field, put a move on somebody, make them have a groin pull like that.
Lou, just good vision, too, from him there, you know?
Yeah.
So we got 2:33 left to play here. Falcons up 24-21, 3rd and 5 here. Ryan connects. There he is again. Freeman, 194 all-purpose yards. Here's Matt Ryan on Freeman's performance.
I thought Devontae played extremely well. Obviously, the run game was very solid. He ran the ball extremely physically, too. He was downhill, finishing runs, wearing out the defense, and that was cool to see. And some nights, guys become the featured, guy of the game, and I thought tonight he was that for us. Did a great job in the passing game, great job in the run game.
We knew there was going to be opportunities for him in the pass game, and even as we came out of our week last week, we identified some areas that we wanted to really emphasize, and Free was one of them, and the different ways and the different styles we can use him both as a runner and as a receiver. So he's such a competitive guy, and he really looked like he was feeling it tonight and coming into his own. So it was vintage Freeman for sure.
Yeah, vintage Freeman, who apparently loves Monday Night Football. He put up 207 against the Saints in Week 3 last season and logged 194 last night. And how about this, guys? He joined Hall of Famers Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith as the only players in Monday Night Football history to produce at least 190 scrimmage yards in consecutive appearances on the program. So 4 wins this season for this Falcons team have come down to the final play. But I can't figure out if the Falcons are good, because every time I think they're good, they go out and sync it up, and then they go out and kind of do something pretty good. So Lou, I want to start with you. Are the Falcons good? Simply.
Yeah, they're good, and they're very talented. They're just very inconsistent. And see, I harp on that word a lot because that is something that was told to me early in my playing career at the professional level, is that we don't want people who go like this. We want people who are like this, who are nice and steady, and who will do what they're supposed to do as far as doing their job. So you can imagine who told me that. And doing it consistently, because that's what wins you 10, 11, 12, 13 games a year and gets you in conference championships all the time. And right now, that's the thing that they're lacking, especially on offense. And really, it starts at this position. It starts with this guy right here, Matt Ryan, who, missing wide open wide receivers like this, I don't care if you're moving to your left, you have your shoulders square, just hit the guy on the numbers. Hit him. Put it on him. I mean, these kind of throws have to be come up with. I know it was a good play also by Chris Conte as far as, punching the pocket. But big-time players have to make these kind of plays. In particular, number 11 has to be a guy, Julio Jones, who can't go for 200-plus one week and then 50 the next week. And it's just inexplicable as to why it's happening like this. Some of it is play calling. A lot of it right now at this time of year is execution. It's execution on the players. They're paying these guys a lot of money to execute. They have to execute if they want to advance into the playoffs and then move forward from there.
Yeah, Julio Jones with 6 drops this season as well. Only 4 players have more drops than Julio this season. So I kind of feel like you highlighted some of the problems they have right now, that being that inconsistency that, you got from a future Hall of Fame coach there, it sounds like. But Tim, is there a positive spin here that you can put on this Falcons team where you feel they're good?
Yeah, well, the reality is this. You win 1 out of your next 2 and you're in the postseason. I mean, that's their situation. And the positive is that, look, you have Devonta Freeman, and you saw the way he ran last night. You saw how he can finish runs, and they can wear you down. Now, I understand it was a depleted defense, but look, the New Orleans Saints defense hasn't played as well recently as they did earlier in the year. And then you have a home game, Week 17, against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina's passing game, I believe, is a mess. Their running game is tremendous, and you have to stop that. But Cam can easily have an off day in terms of the passing game. So I think you look at that, you still have a chance. You know, you have a chance. Everything that Lou showed you is exactly correct. The corner stop to Hardy, that was the last play in there.
Yeah.
It's a terrible throw. I mean, it's one of those ones that's embarrassing when you watch the film of it because it's just a bad throw. The call's good, the route is good, the throw's just bad. And so I think the positive angle on that is you have a good runner and you have a quarterback that you know can play better. And I think, you know, two familiar opponents the last 2 weeks of the season, you know, you should be able to get one win.
I feel like you two are the perfect person to ask this question to, just in terms of them changing coordinators, changing play callers on offense and then on defense. How long does it take for them to all get in sync? Because I think a lot of people forget that the Falcons, they made a lot of changes on both sides of the ball this year.
Yeah, you know, speaking from a defensive perspective, look, Marquand Manuel is someone who they're familiar with, and really their scheme is still set. It's Dan Quinn's scheme, and these guys, the defense came back intact. So it's not like they have a whole bunch of change-up as far as how it's going to be taught.
Yeah.
Now, the accountability level may be different with different coaches because every coach has a different style. Some coach will let some things slide for some players, where a new coach is going to come in and he's going to put his thumb on you and demand even more of you. So I think in that way, in this situation, it could have been a positive. On the offensive side, look, Tim can speak to that. There's a lot more nuance, a lot more intricacy, a lot more I need to get in sync with what my quarterback wants. And Matt Ryan's gone through this before. He went through it with Kyle Shanahan from 15 to 16. Yeah. So you understand it there.
Well, the other aspect, Steve Sarkisian had to learn Kyle Shanahan's terminology. I mean, that's how it worked, you know? And so, you know, I think that was more of a, hey, let's try to meet in the middle thing. And I think at times this year, it looked like they were fine. It looked like, you know, things were on the right page. And quite honestly, you just look at Matt Ryan's performance last night, I don't think it had anything to do with how the plays were called or when they were called. I think it was a matter of just making throws.
I had a coach once tell me that losing an offensive coordinator is equivalent to losing a quarterback. That's how significant it can be for some teams there.
Or gaining one. see the LA Rams.
Oh, good.
Just want to put that in there.
I've never seen anyone love the Rams as much as you do, Lou. All right, guys, let's talk some Bucs here, some action. Jameis Winston, real good game for him last night. A little play fake here, avoiding the rush here. And Mike Evans coming down with it, a 42-yard touchdown catch, steps up. Jameis doing a good job avoiding the blitz, and what a spectacular catch from Evans there.
It's a perfect play by the quarterback. You dip the right shoulder, rip, step up, and climb on Neal coming on the pressure, and then give a guy an opportunity they can go up and get it.
All right, Winston doing what he does best here, the scramble. To the right, finds Adam Humphries here for the 16-yard touchdown. Humphries here comes right inside.
You know who else likes to push up in the pocket and go to the right and then direct traffic? Number 12 from the Packers likes to do that too. See, that's the Jameis that everyone wants to see right there.
All right, here's Winston again now. Freddie Martino fighting in for the first down there. Next play, Cameron Bray. He gets the first down. So Winston puts them in field goal position. Patrick Murray in for the game-tying 54-yard field goal and wide right it goes. Winston, 27 of 35, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns. Here's what Winston had to say after the game about this.
Man, just want to win. Just want to win. You got guys out there. You got guys getting injured. We're having guys just come in and step up, man. I can't let those guys down. Yeah, it's not in my nature. I think it was the best team game we played. Talking about the next man up. I mean, God. And you guys can shred me up for the whole year for not giving him that chance. And I will take it because that's the truth. You know, sometimes it's concepts. But in that situation, man, when Mike's one-on-one or no one's around him, I got to give him a chance, and that's really on me.
I'm watching that game last night, and I'm just thinking the irony. You have Tampa Bay in the draft taking a kicker in the second round, and here they are late in the season. Obviously, that kicker's not in the team anymore. Here they are late in the season losing to a field goal. They haven't come very far. That said, Jameis Winston, guys, he was supposed to have this breakout season. So, Lou, I want to ask you, just his overall performance this year. We've now seen him in 15 games. What do you make of him?
Well, look, there's a big difference, obviously, between healthy Jameis and injured and, not healthy Jameis. But as far as his ability to continuously, or rather consistently, protect the football, that's the biggest issue that you have with him. And when he protects the football and distributes the football effectively and just lets his playmakers go to work, when he's healthy, Jameis is as good as you need him to be. He showed you all the things last night, and we talked about this play already that you see right here on the field about pushing up into the pocket, and Tim highlighted the other one on the touchdown to Mike Evans. It's hard, you don't want to knock him too much because you know he wasn't healthy the entire year.
Yeah.
But turnovers have continuously been something that Dirk Cutter has gotten on him about, and he's going to have to correct. But it's all there for the guy. It's always in the NFL, the difference between average to good and then good to great is always about, can you do it all the time? And that's what he has to do. And that's a mindset, that's a mentality, that's a focus that each week I'm going to do what's necessary to make sure in critical situations I take care of the football, give it to my playmakers, and win football games. Jameis has to master that somehow.
I agree with Lou. I think there are times you look at him and you say, look, that's as good as the best are doing it. And in terms of his ability to throw the football, he's got a rare talent in terms of ability to throw the ball to different areas of the field, accurately anticipate all of that stuff. He's a great competitor that I think his teammates respond really well to, which I think was maybe something you weren't totally sure about before he entered in the NFL. I remember watching him in college and thinking, I would much rather have this guy as my quarterback playing from behind than from ahead. And so if he's coached hard to play well ahead and make good decisions, then he's got a chance to be a really, really good player. I think part of his issue is this. He has put so much on himself about being this emotional leader for the team. And I don't think he needs to be the emotional leader for the team. He can be the leader for the team, but he doesn't have to be the guy that's trying to get everybody excited and do that. Because I think when you do that as a quarterback, you play fast, you want to compete a little more when you should be giving up on a play, on all that type of stuff. And I think that's where he gets himself into trouble. Some of the best quarterbacks, they get excited, but ultimately when you watch them in the pocket or in crunch time, everything seems like it slows down. And I think for Jameis, sometimes it almost speeds up.
I remember this past season when I was covering the Raiders, talking to some of the coaches, their focus was the pregame of making sure Derek Carr wasn't doing any rah-rah stuff, wasn't jumping around, was listening to soft music. And I was asking them why.
It's so true.
I said, we don't want to overhype these guys because then they can't run the offense. They're too excitable. But you've been talking about consistency, though. This is the second time you've mentioned this in regards to a quarterback. How do you build consistency, Lou? How do you put together performances that are the same every week?
Well, I think you know what, I'm going to use the word consistency again in terms of consistency of how the game plan is presented to you, how you then take the game plan, practice it, have it corrected on the practice field, how coaches continue to bring you along towards the game, your pregame routine, how calm you stay, how your weapons stay the same, how the play caller calls the plays in critical situations for you. So everything to you, as Tim just said, is slow. Everything's just like, I get it. I know what's coming. I know what play call is going to be made. I'm just going to look at my wire. He already knows when I'm coming to him, when I'm not. So all of those things seem very routine and regimented. Look, players, I think, in general, like to be routine and regimented. And at that position, I would imagine the more you have that, the better. The great quarterbacks have the same coordinators, play callers, head coaches, primary weapons for a long time. The special ones make everyone else better. Why? Because they're so darn consistent. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, those guys. I mean, it sounds simple. It's just hard to get.
Yeah.
The other aspect of it is rep situations. Rep situations that you see around the league that you think, well, we might get that same situation, that same third down, that amount of time on the clock, these timeouts left. Rep those situations so that when they come, you've prepared for them.
That's huge.
That's also the second time you mentioned coaching in regards to Jameis Winston, which is interesting. So 17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.